Well, clearly, the Americans have deceived the Iranians. They left the Iranians under the impression that most likely the Israelis, if at all we're going to hit after Sunday, because the Americans and the Iranians were supposed to meet again in Oman on Sunday. Now, it's become clear that the Israelis had the green light from the American administration, from Trump. They would not have dared venture in this way had they not had this green light from the Americans. Yet the Israelis are benefiting from the fact that Iran is actually quite vulnerable. Iran lost a major ally, or two major allies actually in the region, the former Syrian regime and Hezbollah. Hezbollah has been weakened considerably, and the Israelis apparently penetrated the Iranians the way they penetrated Hezbollah. Undermining Hezbollah principally was the result of a security breach. Similarly, in Iran, many Iranians apparently don't like this regime and are willing to be recruited by the Israelis. The Israelis have within Iran spying and sabotage networks that make it possible for them to assassinate all these leaders and all these scientists. Iran will find it difficult to respond. First, because the Israelis in the attacks so far since early Friday morning seem to have damaged or destroyed a good number of missile bases inside Iran. And they assassinated the top leaders of the Revolutionary Guards, Air Force and space leadership. But also at the same time, while the Israelis have the entire Arab space open before them, they can easily reach Iran and hit freely. The Iranians have the entire Arab space closed before them. And as we saw this morning, it was within Jordanian airspace that the Iranian 100 drones were intercepted mostly. So they could be intercepted over Saudi's airspace, over Iraqi airspace, over Syrian airspace. Of course, not by the Syrians, but maybe by the Americans who have bases there, and by the Jordanians in the Jordanian airspace, etc. At the same time, at the wider political level, Iran today enjoys little sympathy among the Sunni Arab masses because throughout the years since the revolution in 1979, Iran has gradually been losing the initial support its revolution received because of its various policies and because of its attempts to impose its hegemony in certain parts of the region through the act of converting people to Shiism. So there are a number of factors that play against the Iranians in these events. Apparently, the attack on Iran is motivated by Netanyahu's personal need to salvage his own political career. Just a couple of days ago, there was an attempt in the Knesset to vote his government out of office that narrowly failed. And I think now Netanyahu, with this attack on Iran, managed to rally the entire Israeli political landscape behind him. Even those who oppose him with regard to the war on Gaza have come out with messages of support vis-a-vis the attack on Iran. Everybody is still waiting for the Iranian promised retaliation. Apart from the 100 drones whom the Israelis claim were all intercepted before reaching Palestinian airspace. Apart from that, we haven't seen anything yet. Everybody is waiting to see what the Iranians are likely to do. It would seem to me that the Iranians don't have many options, but who knows? Like everybody else, we have to wait and see. I think Iran finds itself alone in this conflict. I don't think that this conflict is likely to expand beyond the region. The Europeans are behind Israel. The United States of America is behind Israel. Russia will not intervene in favor of Iran. Russia has its own problems. It's highly unlikely that any other powers will come to Iran's aid in any overt manner, and therefore the Iranians will have to deal with this on their own. The war in Gaza is unlikely to be affected by this attack on Iran, except maybe that it is a distraction somehow. Until the early hours of Friday, the focus was always on Gaza, what was going on in Gaza, what the Israelis were doing inside Gaza. And now that the focus has suddenly shifted elsewhere. But it remains to be seen if that will have any other adverse effects or even favorable effects on Gaza.